This is Books and Tickets, and we are delighted to be joined all the way in America. And I've just saying to you off camera, Connor, it's been just over a year since we've done our last interview. Obviously, a lot's changed for you since then. You're obviously now a married man. You were back fighting in Barnsley, obviously over the summer. How's things been with you?
Things have been good. If after the last fight in Barnsley, as you say, I had the wedding, and then I had a honeymoon, or I had the stag do, had the honeymoon, and I had a lot of celebrations. But I was glad to get the call in for the fight. So back in camp now, and that's in the go again.
I guess you probably the last couple of years, you've sort of had these sort of big fights that sort of were very close. Obviously, the Felix Cash one, obviously, and the Ben Eubank card that was obviously cancelled very late. The Emma Williams fight, obviously, you had to pull out an injury at the start of last year. You've sort of been somebody's been dangling the cart. You've sort of been so close to these big fights before that you've wanted, and obviously things just haven't worked out. But like you're just over 2 weeks out now from obviously fighting for the first time in Madison Square Garden. Obviously, touch wood, fingers crossed, nothing goes wrong. But it's looking like this is your final big breakout moment before a world title fight.
I well, this fight's definitely the breakthrough fight for me now. God spares us, everything goes well. Right up, still over 2 weeks to go now. I'm ready to fight. We've had great sparring. I'm just mentally and physically. I've been training for 11 weeks now in total, and I still have two more to go in training, and then it'll be fight week. So I mean, it's been a long camp, and I'm just itching to get in there now. So these last 2 weeks may drag a little because I am so ready to fight, but it has its ups as well. It just means I'll be more prepared, and I'll be even more eager come fight night in Madison Square Garden. So that's a huge excitement for me to fight there.
It's like well, you're saying you have an 11 week camp. Like, did you have like start camp and then did you come home for Christmas and you're sort of able to have a wee break for Christmas and then come back? Was that probably the reason why you started maybe camp so early? So you could sort of because you obviously you have another young child and stuff there as well, and these memories you can't leave. You can't just stay in America and sort of miss Christmas. So you're sort of able to come home and enjoy a bit of Christmas, then back out to it again.
Well, the thing was, we got this call. I think it was the beginning of November for this fight, and I started to train then with Cahir back home, my amateur coach Cahir Duffy. And then I was training for like 2 weeks, and then just having to do the school runs and go and lift the kids, and she's away starting to work again, and running back and forth, doing this, doing that. It's just I can't focus here. I can't train. I'm tired when it comes to train. I have to train at night time because Kiara has kids and he has a job. So it says, right, how are we going to do this? So Kiara suggested that he thinks I should go back to Florida and training camp. He says, go back now to Christmas even, get fit, get the weight down, and come back for a few days for Christmas or whatever. And that's exactly what I've done. I came over here for 4 weeks before Christmas, and I was too heavy after the wedding, the honeymoon, all that carry on, all the celebrations after the last fight. So I had to get a good 15 pounds off me. So when I came here before Christmas, my sole focus on that was get fit and get the weight down, and I did. I got right down the week before Christmas, and I came back enjoyed Christmas with the kids. I stayed in the gym with Kiahar when I was home, and I flew back in 3 a.m. just after the day after Boxing Day. So it was literally a flying visit, just home for the kids for Christmas, and I stuck to the game plan. I stuck to our training routine, and when it's all paid off, and I'm ready to go now.
It's these sacrifices you have to make. Like, does it get harder for you, obviously, when, particularly so around festive season and everything else? Does it get harder for you, obviously? I know you've obviously another one that's a lot younger now, but does it get harder for you to leave, to come back? Or I guess you have to think of the future, I guess, the sacrifice you're making for your kids growing up, that so that you provide them with everything that they need. Like, does it get harder for you to leave each time?
It definitely does. It is getting harder. Every camp's harder. It definitely doesn't get easier anyway. As you say, I've another kid, another little boy now, Caden. He's one. I know he's waking up in the mornings, shouting "Dad" and all, and I'm missing all that stuff. Like I'm over here. I'm in camp now, 11 weeks, 10, 11 weeks in total, away from the kids. And it is hard. I have a few more weeks to go, and the kids are feeling it as well, which makes it harder on me, but I am doing it for them, and I'm not long left now, so it will all pay off come fight night, when I get that victory again.
Valentine's Day as well. Like obviously, I think I put up a post the other day saying obviously that your missus sort of she's getting a late Valentine's present, obviously with you getting the victory. But like Valentine's cards, it's crazy to think like having a big fight in Valentine's Day. I guess by the time obviously you're used to Irish times, so Valentine's Day will be over by the time that you fight. But Valentine's card, obviously, you'll be breaking obviously Vito's heart on the 14th of February.
Yeah, that's going to be the plan. My main focus obviously is getting that one, and once I get that one, then me and the wife can celebrate Valentine's Day. We're going to stay the weekend down in New York, but it's her birthday that week as well. It's also my daughter's birthday, Clodagh Rose, the day before that too. So, I'm missing a lot that week. So that's why it's important that I get in there and I get the job done and I come home with another few belts. Um, and get the job done for my daughter's birthday and my wife's birthday and Valentine's Day. So I have a lot of celebrations missed that week, so I'll make up for it after February 14th.
I hope Top Rank's paying you well because you'll be out of fortune afterwards, obviously with these birthdays and Valentine's and everything else. So I hope they're paying you well.
I think the purse will just about cover that.
You'll need another fight straight after.
I
Um,
know.
Obviously, your opponent Vito Mielnicki. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, unfortunately, it's something I always do. What do you obviously know of your opponent? Obviously, his name White Magic. He's only 22 as well, so it's probably youth. It's that mantle again, youth versus experience. Obviously, you've a lot of experience as an amateur, a lot of experience as a pro. What do you know of
Mhm.
Vito?
Well, when we got the calls and I came here in camp in Florida, we sat down and watched his fights, watched enough and seen enough on what tactics we need to work on in the gym. And and I'm confident I can get the one. I'm actually confident I can get the stoppage once I start fighting that jab and I start landing. I'm just confident on him. But as you say, it's basically a boy versus a man. I'm going to have the man strength. I'm a bigger fighter. I'm a taller guy. I'm a stronger guy. I feel like I'm faster. I have more skills. I'm not saying he's not good. He's definitely a good fighter. He has the skills. He's slick, but I just feel like I am levels above for this fight.
It's sort of one of them, isn't it? Where I know they'll try and do their matchmaking in some ways. They agree sometimes in trying to plan their fighters. You're the away fighter on the card, But obviously for Vito, he's taken too big of a step too early on in his career. That's obviously your belief.
Well, they even looking at the betting sites and stuff, they have him a huge, or they have me a huge underdog. Like absolutely crazy. And when they sent us the contract for the fight, that usually we have to go back and forth and for contracts and money and whatever. They like that's okay. They agree. They agree. They agree. They agreed on everything because they believe that their boy's going to take my world ranking and obviously beat me easy enough. That's what we think their thoughts is. So I'm sure they're gonna have a good hard upset come fight night.
With them making you an underdog, obviously, what way does that play in your mind? Obviously, the bookies sometimes the bookies a lot of times get things wrong. Obviously, I'm not condoning you. Obviously, they say they
Mhm.
tell everybody to go out and bet, blah blah blah. But like that spurs you on even more that the bookies don't know who Connor the Kid Coyle is.
Yep. I'm actually happy coming into this fight as an underdog. So whoever body, even top rank doesn't really rate me. My coach knows people in top rank, and um, I don't think they really rate me too much. So that's why they took this fight, and they've agreed to everything we've asked for right off the bat, because they believe their guy's a much better fighter. So happy getting into this fight as the underdog, just to show and just rub it on a few people's faces as well. Well, here you go. This is Connor the Kid Coyle. This is what I can do. So I'm excited to get in, let the hands go, and let that do the talking.
Three belts obviously on the line, obviously in the fight. Obviously, you already have obviously your own belt, but the WBC, USBA, and the WBO International middleweight titles on the line. So, like, is it fair to say, in some degrees, victory obviously over Vito on the 14th of February could finally land you that world title fight that you've been calling for the last couple of years?
Definitely. We've been told, there will be a world title after this fight. I don't care which world title it is, as long as I can fight for a world title in 2025 this year. I keep forgetting it's 2025.
I'm the same.
I keep as long as I can fight for a belt this year, I'll be happy. As you say, I'll have the WBC, the USBA, which is ABF, I think anyway, and the WBO, and I already have the WBA belt. So I'll have all the main organizations, all those top 10 ranking belts. So, I'll be able to fight for any of those belts this year.
It's like boxing sort of taken, a new wave sort of the last year. Obviously, you've seen quite a lot of these Riyadh cards being made. Obviously, a card you were supposed to be on previously, and the Chris Eubank, Conor Ben card gets remade there for April. Obviously, it's throwing up a tasty one, obviously, for Aaron McKenna. Obviously, at middleweight as well, obviously, fighting Liam Smith. What do you sort of make of both them fights? Because they're both in your weight division.
I think it's a good fight. I actually thought Liam was retired. I thought he did retire. I'm not sure, but I seen he signed a new deal, a multi-fight deal with Matchroom. But no, he's a good experience. McKenna's a good up and coming um, fighter to be a world contender. I mean, for a world title, he's uh he's pushing for as well. So I definitely think it'll be an exciting fight, and that's a good step up as well. So I'm excited to watch that fight and see the outcome for that. But yeah, it looks to be a good undercard so far. I'm not sure if it's 100% um agreed upon all those fights, but so far it looks really really good.
It's like, I guess, when you look closer to home, obviously, a couple of weeks obviously after your fight with obviously an all Irish dust up and Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan. Like, when you see these sort of fights back home, do you sort of sometimes, I guess you sort of look at it and you're going, I that could be me in one of these big fights. Obviously you have your big fight coming up before that, but Crocker and Donovan, the biggest sort of domestic fight you can have before a world title fight, like it's huge. Just picking this back up with Connor. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if it's the weather here in Belfast, but the winds we've been having the last few days, or Zoom just having a technical glitch. But Connor was sort of saying, a couple of weeks obviously after your fight, with obviously the huge all Irish domestic dust up between Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan. Probably stakes couldn't get any higher. The fact that the winner of that fights for world title. Like, do you sort of look at that sort of in some ways and go, I wish that was sort of me? I guess you've your own big fight ahead of that, but the one occasion we're going to have in Belfast on the 1st of March.
I'm actually looking forward to that card. I'm actually looking forward to that fight. Um, I have my tickets and all. I bought my tickets, so I'll be at that fight too. With a few friends of mine back in Derry, we'll be traveling up that day for that fight. And I see there's a few good fights in that card as well, and I'm looking forward to watching. So it's a good time for Irish boxing and Belfast. So it's going to be a good night.
And obviously, two Commonwealth Games medalists, obviously, like yourself, obviously, and Stephen Ward and Tommy McCarthy, obviously going at it. It's like it's nearly the ultimate sort of ultimate Irish card in some ways.
I know, without a doubt. I actually forgot about that fight. The scene that was announced as well. Two friends fighting each other in Belfast, but they've shared plenty of rounds together, So I'm sure they know each other and inside and out. So it'll be a good scrap at night too.
What way does that sometimes go when obviously you've had, David, there's the fights and the amateurs, they've helped each other in sparring throughout fights, where you sort of have to take that friendly thing away. I guess sometimes you realize it's a fight game, it doesn't have to be any bad blood, but when you know someone so well, you then have to competitively fight them. Like, just have to switch something off, don't you?
I feel like they would, yeah, they would have to, they're friends at the end of the day. They've been training with each other for X amount of years. I don't know how many years, but
13. I
um,
first started sparring at 13, so it's 20 years.
Their whole life then, basically. So when that first bell goes, you're going to have to leave that outside the ring and just get on with it. It's a job at the end of the day as well. They're still going to be friends after the fight, but um, just like sparring, you go on sparring, you go on to improve yourself. They're not going on just to make someone better. They're there to improve for themselves, and both of them will be there on the night to get a win under their belt again. So set that aside, and whoever comes out victorious then, comes the winner. They're going to be friends after it. I'm sure they're going to have a pint together after it. So it's good for Irish boxing. It's good. It'll be good for the fans.
Is it sometimes, Mickey, I guess when you're seeing the big revival, obviously, Anto Cacace, obviously, since we last spoke, we have a male world champion as well. So, Anto Cacace, obviously, done the goods in Riyadh last May. Obviously, it bodes well for you, I guess. Sometimes, probably by the time you'll be fighting for world title, we could potentially have two. TJ Dehaney obviously fights for one in March as well. Like, does it make it easier for you sometimes when you see someone that's there current as a champion? You've obviously had whether they're Framptons or Burnett's. TJ's been a champion before. Like, does it make it easier for you to make it realistic to fight for world title, knowing that there's already someone there that you can look at and see how their life sort of changed?
Well, no, I've been working my whole life too, especially my whole professional career to get to where I am. I haven't took an easy route either. Have had a lot of ups and downs. For me to be where I am today, I feel I've, I've worked myself to this position, and I deserve to fight for a world title this year. Um, for Cacace, and they won that world title. He was probably he worked for a lot long periods of time for where he got, and he eventually got that opportunity, and he took it, which was amazing for Irish boxing and himself and his team and his family. And Michael Conlan too. I feel he should be world champion. There's a lot of people, especially a lot of them Belfast guys. Sean McComb, like I feel they're all up there. There should be a lot more Irish world champions. I just believe just some side of it luck, some side of it not getting the right opportunities at the right time. Just Irish boxing, I feel has potential to have a lot of male world champions.
Definitely, and hopefully, fingers crossed, 2025 is a year for you.
Mhm.
Madison Square Garden, obviously, we've seen so much history, so much over the years. Looking forward to obviously to stepping out, obviously in Madison Square Garden on the 14th of February.
Oh, I'm excited about that one. I don't think there's anywhere else in the world that I would rather fight. Just in New York alone, never mind Madison Square Gardens. I've always loved New York. I love being in New York. So they fight Madison Square Gardens where,
Yeah, we're still here. We're still here.
sorry, they fight in Madison Square Gardens. Where John Duddy and all. I would have grew up, hearing about him all over Derry in the newspapers when I was started boxing. Um, so they fight there now. Myself, just it's absolutely amazing.
And as you say, obviously, if you believe, obviously, you can get a stoppage over Vito on the 14th of February. The perfect way to announce, obviously, yourself in Madison Square Gardens.
Well, I wouldn't want to leave it to the judges anyway, especially on their card. Has basically his hometown. I think he's from New Jersey, so across the water, literally. So I don't want to leave it to the judges' hands. They see sorry, they see who's the winner. I want to put it under my own hands and make that decision myself.
Well, obviously, when you speak in that, obviously, Sean McComb, obviously, last year with the Barboza fight, completely schooled him. Like, in my opinion, it's probably one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in boxing. Like, that obviously helps you a lot going into your fight. You can't leave it to judge just because if you leave it to them, you don't know if they're in somebody's pocket. You're the away fighter on their card, so you have to keep it controlled on your side and go, just take them out of there. And they've no other choice but to call you the winner.
Yep, definitely, and that's a prime example why I don't want to leave it to the judges. McComb's fight was Jesus, it was an absolute joke. I think I was actually here in camp when I was watching it. It was absolutely horrendous, like the decision. So that's why they say you can never leave it and give it into the judge's hands, especially if it's a home fighter or someone who's high up there and they don't want them to be beat or something like that. You can't give it to the judge.
is it sort of like, you always have to know that you have to put in a bit, an extra 5 or 10% into each round. Like, you can't have any close rounds because any close rounds are going to favour their fighter.
I well, I don't think like in McComb's fights, you clearly know a good lot of them rounds were his, so
Yeah.
obviously, but they give it to Barboza. Yeah, so even at that, I don't even want close rounds, or you don't even want to win 5 or 10%. I just, in my head, I want the stoppage, and that's what I want.
Definitely.
Just
Well,
go
well,
ahead.
well, well, look, well, obviously, I'll thank you for your time. Obviously, it's good to obviously get a catch up. Obviously, unfortunately, too long since the last one. Maybe we'll do obviously your next one on the 1st of March in the SSE Arena when you have these extra belts. That's why you're bringing a few guys with you because you need people to carry your belts for you.
Yep.
Um, but
Carrying
look,
all those belts home.
but look, great to get a catch up. Obviously, we wish you all the very best of luck for the 14th of February. You're fighting obviously in Madison Square Garden on the top rank card, and we'll hopefully fingers crossed catch up in Belfast on the 1st of March. To obviously see you with all your new belts.
Yep, definitely.
All
Sounds good,
right,
bud. Thank you.
cheers, Connor. Take care.
See you
Thanks.
later.
Thanks. Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.